What's going on, everyone? Welcome, Rabid here, and in my possession I got a big arse miner here. This was sent from Red Panda Mining and Elphapex here. This is the DG2 Plus, the biggest Dogecoin miner in existence, over 20 gigahash. So we're going to test this thing out and check it out. I do have Mr. Red Panda Mining's address right here, so if you guys want to know what it is, tune in, zoom in. I'm just kidding. We're not going to show you his address, guys. Come on, what do you think this is? But yeah, this was sent from Red Panda. Looks like it's doing the rounds to various YouTubers. Nobody gets to keep them. They get to try them out for a couple weeks and then make their video. So this is pretty much an unboxing and I guess possibly setup video. And then we'll see what it looks like and stuff. And then over some time here, a few days or so, we'll see what the profits and everything is looking like. But we'll look at some initial numbers as well. But right now, let's get this thing unboxed. And remember, this thing is definitely looking like it's pretty large. Alright, so upon unboxing this, it looks like it does come with special Red Panda Mining Edition stickers. I'm just kidding, Red Panda Mining sent these. It looks like we got a special hologram one, normal sticker, and a mini sticker. So that's awesome. I got some Red Panda Mining stickers. I'm definitely going to have to place these somewhere. So let's just kind of put these for now, I guess, onto the old garden tractor right here for now. Stay safe. Coming down into here. All right, so looking at this thing, it looks like your typical, I guess, Bitmain E9 or possibly the Bitmain X5 type of well-endowed type of ASIC here where, you know, it's sticking out quite a bit. But obviously this is nothing from Bitmain. This is an Elphapex miner. So the latest DG2 Plus, I believe is what it's called. I don't see any stickers anywhere. This is a sticker about the power supply, nothing about the miner. I don't see anything anywhere that has to say what exactly this miner is. I do see this thing has been ridden hard, so we got some scratches and whatever else kind of going on here. A little bit of packing peanut stuff, dust and stuff across it. But other than that, you know, it's definitely not looking like it's brand new or anything. So it's been making the rounds just like, you know, it's used and abused. Let's just put it that way. As for power cable, it looks like you do have to use the special P13 type of power cable here. The Bitmain's time, not the Can-Am. So if you're unfamiliar with these, if it ever focus for me, come on, let's get a focus going on here. Focus. Okay, it doesn't want to focus. So let's just see if it'll do it on its own. There we go. Come on, you're kind of okay. What is happening? There we go. So we got some focus action finally. So this is, you know, the Bitmain is kind of enclosed here. The Can-Am is kind of cut right here, and they're sticking out. So that's kind of how you can tell the difference between Bitmain and Can-Am's type of plug. So this is looking like it's the Bitmain type of P13 plug here. And then it goes to your C19 plug. And remember, actually this is a C20 plug. This is the male end, so the male is always the highest number. So this is C20, and it would plug into a C19 PDU plug, which would be the female side. All right, so I don't have my other 30 amp RAN yet. I got all the wiring there. All I gotta do is run the cable and put it in the box, and I got power there. But I haven't done that part yet. It won't take very long, but for now, I'm just gonna unplug everything, or I guess turn off. I'm gonna turn off all my CPU mining rigs, you know, the Flu miner, and the other Flu miner up there, that's also the radio. And I'm not going to run any of my miners except for this until I get a power. And then I'm going to turn on the Flu miners. We'll see how much power I got left to play with. And then I might play around with some CPU rigs just till I get my full capacity. Because this is supposed to use around 3,900 watts. I did want to get my other 30 amp put in for this. But right now, you know, CPUs aren't really that profitable anyway. So during this couple times, you know, this couple weeks here, I might just run the Doge miners, including the Flu miners. But first, I want to know how much power it's using. So I'm going to shut everything off. All right, so I have everything shut off now. We are still sitting at about 9.5 watts. That's the power that our PDU is kind of using, because our PDU does have a screen and it kind of tells us the power and stuff like that. So there is the PDU, just to show you. It is showing that we are not using any power right now, but at the wall, again, we are 9.5 watts because the PDU is using about 9.5 watts. All right, so I now have it plugged in. It's waiting to boot and stuff. I can hear the fans slowly ramping up. Not quite yet, but it's an ASIC, so I imagine it's going to be loud. We'll check the loudness and decibels and all that stuff later on once it's running. But for now, it's nice and quiet. So I wish I could have got it lower. It came with a super short cable that barely reaches from here to that next shelf. I wanted it at the bottom, that way to keep it quieter in my garage, because it's not really insulated, and I have a feeling that neighbors could get mad, at least All I know, when it came to the AE Max 2 there, that thing was loud and I could hear it like down the block. So I'm hoping this is a little bit quieter, but we'll see. So, I like to keep it low. That way when it hits minus 40 and, minus 20, like lately it has hit minus 10 and stuff outside, I could crank the door open a little bit and that cool air would come in and it'd keep the fans nice and low for that. So that's something I'm hoping, but again, it comes down to, how loud this thing is in the first place. So I'm gonna go set this up and we'll see what it looks like in the dashboard and stuff. All right, guys, so this DG2 Plus has been running for about 2.5, 3 days or so. So it's time to take the vitals. Now, what are the vitals of a miner? That is your power consumption, your noise levels, that is your hash rate, average hash rates that is, as well as, profitability. Now, profitability will be different for everybody depending on your power price. So we're going to go through the revenue and then we'll kind of look at the power consumption. You can kind of work it out based on your power price here. So let's start with the vitals, starting with the power. All right, so looking at the wall here, we are about 3,862 watts or so. Remember, we do got to subtract about 9.5 watts for the PDU. So we are around, 38, 52 or 51 or somewhere in that area. All right, so let's have a look at some noise levels here. We are sitting around 88 to 89 decibels up close. Then we come back a little bit. Around 75 or so. So it is fairly loud, especially right up close, but it does start to drop that noise level depending how far you are. Now, if you're not sure how loud it is compared to other ASICs, it is pretty much the same basic ASIC sound you would hear from a 6,000 to 8,000 RPM fan. It is a loud, high-pitched noise. Now, I do want to point out, warning, now long-term exposure to this type of frequency of a sound can cause headaches and other things, which we see reported around people in towns that are actually around large Bitcoin mining farms. So you got to keep that in the back of your mind, but if it's somewhere separated from your bedrooms and things like that, you shouldn't be able to hear it depending on your insulation and stuff. Once I leave my garage, I can't hear it in the house, but you can hear it outside as my garage isn't really well insulated towards the outer part. So people down the block can still kind of hear this. It's not too bad because it is winter time, so it's a lot cooler in here. But in the summertime, it may get loud and bad. All right, so I have been running with the DG2 Plus on nice hash, and we're just going to take a look. It's looking like actual profitability around $20.29 a day. And so far, we've mined about $57 worth of Bitcoin on nice hash by mining the script algorithm. And our 24 average hash rate here is 21.08 gigahash. So that's actually pretty good here, 21.8 gigahash, and here we can see all our accepted shares and everything. So it's doing pretty well here. So it looks like a little over $20 a day revenue. Remember, you got to remove your power price from that, and we're sitting at about 21.08 gigahash. So this miner is looking pretty darn good. So coming into here, it's looking like the income per day, it looks like nice hash is down to 1937, but we did see I was getting about $21 a day, so this may have just updated, and maybe tomorrow it'll only be 19, but for the most part, the past couple of days, it has been around $20 to $21 a day. Here's $21 a day based on just mining LTC, Doge, and Bells. Obviously, we know where 99% of this is coming from Dogecoin only. Then Litecoin, Bells isn't giving you anything. So that symbol shouldn't even be there. And it looks like it's the cheapest as ASIC Mining Central. And I will have a link to that as well as a discount code to ASIC Mining Central down in the description there for you guys. All right, guys. So coming into just to do a comparison here, and the closest comparison the DG2 Plus will be is to Bitmain's latest miner, the L11, which I believe isn't shipping till sometime in January, but it may be wrong. So coming into here, it looks like their efficiency is pretty close to the same at Bitmain's L11 is coming in at 5.43 megahash per single watt of power used, where the DG2 Plus is 5.44. So slightly better. And, it's a little bit under the L11 Pro and L11 Hydra, but these things are, absolutely crazy, absolutely crazy. Well, I guess the Pro would be a comparison here, as it's 5.81, so a little bit better, 21 gig hash. But the L11 Pro, none of us are going to be utilizing this. I believe it's 3-phase, liquid cooled, requires Bitmain's freaking ant rack, which is expensive. All this stuff is not geared towards a home miner. So you know, the L11 Pro and the DG2 Plus here is looking pretty good with the L11 Pro, slightly ahead in efficiency, but obviously this all comes down to price and everything as well. So the other comparison here is last model was the L9 16 gig hash at 3360 watts. That is 4.76 mega hash per single watt of power, and obviously the hash blades, I have not seen an upgrade or update or anything for a while on these. So, you know, they're supposed to be 2 gig hash, 145 watts. That's 13.79, which is extremely efficient and blows away the competition. But we still have yet to see if these things are going to ever release and if they are real or not. So this is a big up in the air. So I wouldn't count on it. But for the most part, the DG2 Plus looks like it is nice and up there with the efficiency, with everything on par with the Antminer L11. Again, it all comes down to pricing and availability. But so far, it is looking like it is at the top-notch, current best miner for the script algorithm. Another major reason is these have not released yet, and if it is January, remember, we're moving slowly into that bear market, so by the time the L11 even releases, we should start seeing prices drop on them because the demand will be dropping because the profitability is dropping, if that makes sense. Well, for the most part, it looks like that statement remains the same, as the DG2 Plus won't be shipping till around February of 2026. Same with the DG2, and then Bitmain's is January of 2026. So it looks like they're all shipping around the same time. So that previous statement applies to all these miners, and they all look very similar in terms of, I guess, efficiencies, hash rate, and power consumptions. Now, one thing you got to keep in mind is Bitmain has also kind of been going downhill when it comes to, I guess, reliability, as their miners have been blowing up quite a bit. Obviously, this is a new miner, so we don't know how long it will last yet, but we do see Bitmain starting to fall in terms of reliability. So that's one thing we also got to keep in the back of our mind. Anyway, guys, thank you for checking out this video. If you have any questions, you want to see something else on this DG2 Plus, like pool supports and other things like that, let me know down in the comment section. I will see you on the next one. Rabid out.